In creating the directory structure for the house, all of the paths that we were specifying were with respect to the current directory or the working directory. In other words, they're what we call relative paths, relative to the current directory. And so in CMD, for example, I could say something like dir, and it showed me by default the current directory. If I said, show me a directory listing of kitchen, then it says, oh, kitchen is in the current directory, so it could show me the listing of that. I could even say dir dot dot, that shorthand we have for one level up from whatever the current directory is. So this is going to show me the directory listing of Joe. One level up from house. And therefore, if I said dir backslash, our path separator character, dot dot, that's going to say go up 2 levels. So I'm going to go up from house to Joe to users. And sure enough, I'm seeing the directory of users now. I could do it again and say go up another level. And now it takes me up from house to Joe to users to the root of the storage device. If I tried to say, hey, let me do it again, CMD is going to say, hey, there is nothing above root. So you can ask for as many levels above root as you want, but it's going to be capped there. There's nothing above it. Okay, so that's great. We can always specify paths relative to where we are. In fact, I could even say, hey, let me go up 1 level or 2 levels. So I'm going to go up from house to Joe to users and then back down to Joe. And I see the files that are there. I could say go up to users and down to Joe and down to the house, and I'm back to where I started. Okay, so I'm seeing the current directory there. Okay. The other thing I can do is I can say, hey, show me a directory listing of backslash. And backslash alone, or at least as the first character of a path, says this is an absolute path, absolute from the root of the file system. So I'm seeing a directory listing of c:\\, the root. Which means then I could say, hey, show me a directory listing of go back to the root and then down to users. Show me a directory listing of from the root users Joe. From the root users Joe house, and again I'm back to where I started. I'm seeing a directory listing of the current directory, but there's no reason why I couldn't go down another level to say the bedroom and see a directory listing of there. So again, 2 ways to specify paths: relative paths and absolute paths. And that works whether I'm doing a directory listing or I'm making directories, removing directories. I can specify absolute or relative paths at any point in time. If I come over to PowerShell, I can either do ls or dir, but if I say ls dot dot, that's 1 level up. If I said ls dot dot, backslash or /backslash, backslash dot dot, backslash dot dot, do this a whole bunch of times, what I see is, again, I'm always going to see the root. There is nothing above it. And so then I could say, oh, show me a listing from the root, absolute path, from the root down to users. Okay, same sort of thing applies there. If I come over to bash, now remember in bash, I'm several levels down from the root of the one single file system here, but I can do the same kinds of things. I can say, hey, show me a listing of the bathroom, which is 1 level down. That's fine, it's empty right now. Show me a listing 1 level up or multiple levels up, and then I can say show me a listing of the root. Oh, and if I get the right path separator character, show me a listing of / the root. I see those, and again ls for from the root users, and what we notice is it can't access users. So the first thing I want to do is make sure that I spelled it correctly. And that's because, oh, yes, I'm not in Windows land anymore. I am in Bash land, Unix land, where if I say show me the directory of the root, then I see amongst the other directories there MNT. So I'd have to say show me a listing from the root of MNT, and then C, and then users, and then Joe, and then I can see what's in the house. And there we are again. I've seen the files that are in the current directory. Okay. As I was saying, that means I can also change directory to, let's say, the bedroom. Okay. And now if I said, show me a directory listing, one level up, I'm seeing the house. What I'm going to do now, I think, is since I'm in the bedroom, I'm going to make a file here. And so you might have noticed these pictures up here in the corner. This is my cat, Frankie. And this is my dog, Jermaine. So I've got those pictures there for the future. But what I want to do right now is say I'm in the bedroom, and that's where Frankie is. So I'm going to say echo. And I'm going to say that Frankie is a calico. And then I'm going to redirect that to a file called, I suppose I will call it frankie.txt, since it's a text file. Okay. And so now I can do a directory listing. There's the file Frankie in the bedroom. If I were to come over to PowerShell, I can say, show me a directory of the bedroom, and there's Frankie. What I can then do is I can move Frankie from the bedroom into the living room. Okay? So what I'm going to do in CMD first, I suppose, is I'm going to say move. MOVE is a command that I believe is understood. We'll find out. And it's move the source and the destination. So what am I trying to move? Well, I am trying to move Frankie, who is in the current directory. She is in the bedroom right now. And I want to move her to the living room. Okay? So the destination for her, I can specify is either an absolute or a relative path. If I want to specify a relative path, I'll say, okay, I need to go one level up to the house, and then down into wherever I said I was going to move her, the living room. And yes, you guessed it, I'm going to need to quote that path. And it says one file was moved. So if I do a directory listing now, the bedroom is empty. But if I do a directory listing of one level up to the house and then living room, and I'll quote it to be sure, then I see that Frankie is now in the living room. And I suppose one other thing I should have done while I'm doing this stuff is to say, okay, over here in the GUI view, if I go to my hard disk C colon, there's that users folder, there's the Joe folder, and there's the house that I created. And here are the different rooms that I created. And if I look in the bedroom, it's empty. If I look in the living room, there's Frankie. So I can move Frankie from one place to the other. What I can also do, because this is not reality, is I can clone Frankie. So right now, Frankie is in the living room, and I could say copy from, now I got to keep track where I am. I'm in the bedroom right now. So I've got to say copy from one level up, path separator character backslash, which takes me to the house, and then living room, path separator character Frankie, because now I'm going to specify the file that I'm trying to move. Frankie.txt is the source, and where do I want to move Frankie to? Let's say I want to move her to the bedroom, which happens to be the current directory, and this is where that dot thing comes in handy, because I can say move her to the current directory. I can probably say dot, or I can say dot backslash. It tells me one file was copied. So if I look here now in the bedroom, there's Frankie. If I look in the living room, there's Frankie as well. There's the clone of Frankie in the living room. I can do the same thing in PowerShell, and I can say move, and if I say move, it tells me, well, let me do it this way. Control C, I'll cancel that. Cancel that. I wanted to actually say help move, and we see that there are alias. So the PowerShell command is move item, and then MV is an abbreviation for move, and that's actually the Unix variant of that. So in Unix, in Bash, I would say MV, again, source, destination, absolute relative path, all still applies. The path separator character changes from a backslash to a forward slash. Other than that, it's the same idea.